I want a relationship 4 or 5 or 6 times a day, but his opposite pillar is so small. I've been married for 4 years and unfortunately he only wants it once because he doesn't last a minute and then finishes, he releases too quickly. So I started looking for a big pillar because I really love that stuff. I'm desperate for a relationship. That's why I wanted a pillar bigger than what I was seeing. It's true because big ones are what satisfy and they are what truly help and please. Anyway, as soon as my husband would leave for work, I would stay at home tearing myself apart. So I thought and said, when he leaves, my husband, I'm going to go out and look for a big pillar. Because I really, really need that big pillar. Honestly, I'm not living my life. And it's my right to live my life. If you have a problem, you should have treated it. I was keeping quiet, but I finally had enough. And sure enough, when my husband left for work, I got dressed up and put on my best. I wore my black abaya. Then I went to a cafe. In a public place, I looked around hoping to find a man with a big one. Unfortunately, even at the place I went to, the coffee, there wasn't a single one I liked at all. I wanted something specific, something to satisfy me, something to make me feel my existence. Then, as I was going back, our building's doorman said to me, "Madam, do you need anything?" I told him yes, the bathroom faucet is broken, and I want a plumber to come and fix it before my husband gets home. He said I need to see it so that I can find someone suitable for this faucet. I said to him, "No problem, come on in." Then he came up with me, and I opened the apartment with my key. Since I have the key, I said to him, "Come see it." Anyway, the doorman went in. He went inside to the bathroom. I said to him, "Come see the faucet." I opened the bathroom for him. He went in and said, "Yes, it really needs a plumber because it's leaking." It really was leaking. The strange thing, of course, is that the bathroom faucet is leaking, so if you stood in front of it, it would get your clothes wet. Anyway, he went in to look at it and said, do you have a wrench for it?" I said, "Yes, I have a wrench," and I gave him the wrench. Anyway, he kept turning it right, left, right. He said, "Maybe the problem doesn't need a plumber. I have some experience. I said, "That's fine. It's no problem. Just fix it." Anyway, he turned the wrench right, left, right, left. It took half an hour. Anyway, I prepared a strong cup of tea for him. I went and brought it to him in the living room. I told him, "After you finish, come out to drink this cup of tea." He said to me, "You shouldn't have bothered, madam. Don't worry." He said, "I'm almost finished with it anyway." I told him, "No, not at all. It's the least I could do for you, helping me. And drink the tea after you finish." He said, "All right." Anyway, I stayed in the kitchen, preparing food, minding my own business. Suddenly, I heard the doorman's voice saying, "I'm finished, madam." I told him, "Are you done? Okay, drink your tea in the living room." Anyway, he didn't drink his tea. I was in the kitchen at that time, finishing up the potatoes. And then I would go out. Anyway, I stayed in the kitchen for a bit, just 7 minutes, to finish the potatoes. Then I went out into the living room. I found the doorman standing in front of the bathroom door. He hadn't even touched his tea. I asked him, "Why didn't you drink your tea?" He said, "Don't you see I'm wet?" I said, "What do you mean wet?" I took a closer look. At first I hadn't paid attention. I found he had lifted his galabaya. And his undergarments were visible, obviously because the faucet was leaking and water got on him. You know, when someone fixes a faucet, they get soaked with water and such. Anyway, I found that he was completely drenched in water. Anyway, he lifted his galabaya and kept trying to dry it off. Suddenly, I saw a large, thick, and very prominent column showing through his undergarments. Honestly, I was surprised. I thought, is it possible? Is it possible that what I've been looking for is with the doorman? Is it possible that this is what I want? Is this what I've been wishing for and dreaming of for so many years? Is it possible that all this charm, sweetness, and beauty is right next to the building I live in and I didn't know anything about it, huh? Honestly, I was very surprised. To be honest, I was very frustrated. How did I not know about him for so long? He's been sitting right below me. Why would I go to public places on such a... Anyway, I was very happy. I told him, wait, just wait. He said, no, it's okay, I'll go dry my clothes outside the house, outside the apartment. I told him, no, I'll dry them for you here, just wait, just wait. He said, no, that's not right, it's not appropriate. I don't want to trouble you. I told him, don't worry about the trouble, I'll dry them for you. Anyway, I told him, take off your galabaya. He said, how? That's not right, and I don't know what. Take off the galabaya. Listen to me before I cause you trouble. I'll say you did something inappropriate. And he really did. He took it off and listened to me. Honestly, I started moving closer to see this big dream clearly. I got close, and while I was near him and helping him with it, after messing with the galabaya, honestly, the part of him that was showing was completely erect. Everything was erect. Honestly, I was stunned by the sight I saw in front of me. Is it possible that such a large size was right next to me and I didn't know anything about it for years? Because this doorman has been working for 5 or 7 years. And I've always seen him since I first got married and came to live with my husband in the same building we live in now. Right, but I didn't know he was that well endowed. Not until this situation happened. The situation. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't have known that this doorman had such a big thing. Hidden things actually appeared, and at the right time, because I really needed it. I told him, there's some water somewhere. Let me wipe it off for you on that thing. He said, what thing? I said, just wait. And I went to the place where he was. This big thing. I started to get my hands on it. I was pretending that I was wiping water and all that. But honestly, I meant something else. I kept feeling it and holding it in your ikat. Honestly, it was big and hard. Anyway, I started to tell him, by the way, I have a problem in the bedroom inside the closet. It's broken, and I want you to fix a door that doesn't close. I know, Liz. I wanted him to come inside, okay? And after that, I would do what couldn't be done. Truly. As soon as he entered the bedroom, I won't tell you what happened next. If you want to, what happened? Wait for the second part. Goodbye. I want intimacy 4, 5, or 6 times a day. His pole is very small. I have been married for 4 years. And unfortunately, he only wants it once. Because he doesn't last a minute. And I find he has splattered, meaning his water came out. How fast? You of course understand. So I started looking for a big pole. Because I love that thing a lot. Because of intimacy. Because that's why I wanted a bigger pole than what I was seeing. And it's true, because big things are what satisfy, and they are what truly help and please. My husband used to go out. During the longing, I would stay in the house, tearing myself apart. So I thought and said, when my husband goes out, I will go out. I will go out. I will look for a big pole for myself, because I really need it. This big pole is really great, honestly. I am not living my life, and it is my right to live my life. If you have a problem, you should have treated yourself for it. I was quiet, but I have had enough. And truly, when my husband went to work, I dressed up and wore my best clothes. I wore my black abaya, and then I went out. I went to a cafe in a public place, and I was looking around to find a man with a big one. Unfortunately, even the place I went to, the cafe, and the places I visited, I didn't find anyone I liked. Okay, I wanted something specific, something to solve it, and something I could feel. Then on my way back, there was our building's doorman. He said, "Madam, do you want anything? Do you need anything?" I said, "Yes, the bathroom faucet is broken, and I want a plumber to come to fix it before my husband comes back." He said, "What I have to see it so I can bring someone suitable for this faucet." I said, "No problem, come on in." Then he came up with me. I, of course, opened the apartment with the key because I have the key. I said, "Come see it." The doorman entered and went inside too. I told him to go check the bathroom faucet. I opened the bathroom for him and it was leaking. It really needed a plumber. The strange thing is that the faucet in my bathroom was leaking, so if you stood in front of it, you'd get splashed. Anyway, he went in to check it and asked, "Give me a moment to look at it. Do you have a wrench?" I told him, "Yes, I have a wrench." I gave him that adjustable wrench. He kept turning it right, left, right. He told me, the problem might not need a plumber. I have some experience. I said, "Fine. No problem, fix it." He kept on turning the wrench back and forth for half an hour. Anyway, I prepared a strong cup of tea for him. I went and took it to him in the living room. I told him, "After you finish, come out to drink this cup of tea." He told me, "Don't trouble yourself, madam. I'm not in a hurry." He said, "I'm almost done with it anyway." I told him, "No, how could I not? It's enough that you help me out. Drink the tea after you finish." He said, "All right." I stayed in the kitchen preparing the food, minding my own business. Suddenly, I heard the doorman's voice saying, "I'm finished, madam." I told him, "You're done? Great, drink the tea in the living room." But why didn't he drink the tea? I was in the kitchen at the time finishing cutting potatoes, and then I was going to head out. I stayed in the kitchen for a bit, finished cutting the potatoes. It only took me about 7 minutes. Then I went out to the living room and found the doorman standing in front of the bathroom door. He hadn't even touched the tea. I asked him, "Why didn't you drink the tea?" He said, "Don't you see my condition?" I said, "What's wrong with you?" He pointed. I looked at him again because I hadn't noticed the first time. I found he had lifted his galabia. He had lifted the galabia and his underwear was showing. Of course, because the faucet was leaking and the water had splashed all over him. The Italia? You know, when you fix a faucet, you get soaked with water and all that. Anyway, I saw that he was completely drenched in water. He had lifted his clothes to try and dry them off. Suddenly, I saw a large, wide, and very prominent bulge in his underwear. Honestly, I was surprised. I thought, is this possible? Is it possible that what I've been looking for is right here with the doorman? Could this really be what I want? Is this what I have been wishing and dreaming of for so many long years? Is it possible that all this perfection, sweetness, and beauty exists next to the very building I live in, and I didn't know a thing about it? Honestly, I was very surprised. I was frustrated. How had I known him for so long? He's been right here under my nose this whole time. And here I was going to all these public places. Anyway, I was so happy. I told him, "Wait, just wait." He said, "No, it's okay. I'll go dry my clothes outside the house, outside the apartment." I told him, "No, I will dry them for you. Stay here, just wait." He said, "No, that won't do. It's not proper. I don't want to trouble you." I told him, "It's no trouble at all. I'll dry it for you." Anyway, I told him, no, take off your galabea." He said, "How? That's not possible," and I don't know what. Talking about his galabea. "Listen to me, or else I'll cause you trouble. I'll say you did some bad things." And he actually took it off and listened to me. Honestly, I started moving closer to see the size. That big thing, I came closer. As I was close to him, in that moment, I helped him with it. It was like I was helping him with it. After I played with the galabea, honestly, the thing he had was fully erect. And, it was standing up, honestly. I was stunned by the sight in front of me. Is it possible that this huge size has been right next to me And I haven't known anything about it for years because this doorman has been working for us for 5 or 7 years. And I always see him from afar. I got married and came to live with my husband in the same building we live in now. Exactly. But I didn't know he had such big things. Not until this situation happened. I mean, if it weren't for this situation, I wouldn't have known this doorman had such big things hidden away. And it really appeared. And it appeared right on time. Because I needed it. Very much. And I wanted it. It was wet. There was some water. I'll dry it for you with that thing. He said, what thing? I said, just wait. And I went to the place where it was, that big thing. Did it dull? And I put my hands on it. I did it as if I was drying the water and such. But honestly, I had something else in mind. I kept, feeling it and holding it. And holding it, honestly, it was big and hard. Anyway, I started telling. I remember I had a problem in the bedroom inside. The closet is broken and I want you to fix it for me. There's a door that doesn't close. I wanted him to come inside, And after that, I'll do what's unthinkable. And really, the moment he entered the bedroom, no, I won't tell you what happened after that. If you want to know what happened, wait for me in part 2. Goodbye.